standards like that and looking at these uniforms. We talk about the technology. Each generation, the weapons these were carrying seem crude by today's standards. And you're probably wondering, by today's standards, with the modern high-tech weapons we have, on the modern battlefield, especially looking at our United States Marines, that what idiot would want to walk out to a battlefield with a big white X across his chest? In reality, this was common during the period. Technology was basically growth on tactical doctrine. In reality, the muskets, both northern and southern being used, with the standard, was a smoothbore muzzle-loading musket. It fired a 69 caliber ball in most cases. It had to be loaded from the muzzle, and it could be loaded and fired approximately, in the best of conditions, 3 times a minute. It had an effective range of between 75 and 100 yards, literally less than the distance of a football field away. Under those conditions, the fact that you had to stand up to load and fire effective, you had to be able to close with your enemy, and as you see here, the primary part of the weapon, even in that day and age, was 16 inches of cold steel, known as a bayonet, placed under the end of the weapon. This dictated tactical doctrine. A tactical doctrine that had been in place from well before the American Revolution had been refined to its ultimate port by Napoleon in the early 1800s, and by the American Civil War had become the standard throughout the world as warfighting. What you see on today's parade was the standards of fighting each other at the time. A human wall against a human wall. They would learn how to fire the weapon, but the ultimate goal is to take your human wall with that bayonet affixed and close against your opponent's human wall and try to break it through. It was literally a slugfest. Looking at that uniform, by modern standards, we say it would not be very smart to go out in the field. But at the time, picture yourself now, modern relatives. You were those people, regardless of your persuasion or northern or southern, regardless of who you were. You're a militiaman. You've got your friends and family standing on either side of you. You're in line. You're standing in line exactly like these people are. Like that. You have the same basic type of uniform, the same equipment, the same muskets. The tactics are the same, I like that. So what's going to be the game changer? This is where the human element comes into place. Our traditions today in the modern military, the United States Marine Corps, the United States Army, a polished brass, squared away uniform, gleaming equipment, I like that, and snap and pop and drill are a direct heritage of our warfighting capabilities of 150 years ago. If you're standing there, you see these Marines, you see these militiamen coming out across the field. They're on the opposing side. I like that. You see them a couple of 100 yards across the field. They're beyond their range of musketry fire. The first shot hasn't been down range. But you see them marching out. You see their brass glistening in the sunlight. You see those white cross belts. You see those bayonets gleaming in the sun. They're sending a message to you. Look at me. I am a professional. I am better than you are, and I'm going to come over there and kick your butt. The idea behind that, just imagine now, you're standing in rank, just like these gentlemen are. You're on the receiving end. You're in that front rank. You're holding your musket with a bayonet on it. And you may not be quite as well trained as what they are. What's going through your mind? You know, maybe they are just a little bit better than I am. Do I want to wait and stand here until they actually are close enough to use that bayonet? What you have just done now, before the first shot is ever fired, is put that element of doubt in your opponent. That is the game changer, and it's all about us as people. The resolve and the discipline and the human element and the capability of the individual far exceeded the capabilities of the technology. Now you see these men going through the various procedures. They're going through loading procedures and such right now. What they're doing, if they were not disciplined in how they did this, each movement, just loading the musket for example, it takes 10 separate movements to load this muzzle-loading weapon. If they did not do it in unison, did not do it in its precise way, they would literally be beating each other apart and never be able to maintain the organized structure that they have. Now, the firing of these weapons can be used in several different ways. Again, remember, a human wall facing a human wall. The concepts today of a machine gun are not new concepts. Just how they are applied has changed.
Fired by battalion! Battalion! Ready!
Now imagine today, you could give a soldier or Marine a squad automatic weapon, a machine gun, and he could put hundreds of rounds down range in a matter of seconds. 150 years ago, that same concept could apply by a single command.
Hey!
Same thing. They just took 100 Marines and soldiers to put that 100 rounds down range. But the ultimate end result is the same. And what are we doing? We're putting mass lead down range, again, trying to break a hole in the human wall. Now, a volley fire like this was very, very effective, but it had its drawbacks, so other tactics had to be applied. If you're firing a volley fire, what you've done now, you have totally unloaded your entire line, both front and rear range. And it's going to take another 20 to 30 seconds to reload and be ready to fire, making your wall vulnerable. So other methods would then apply to be able to keep continuous firing